Good?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so in this video, I'm going to go over progressions for the reverse crunch. It's a really good exercise for teaching how to use the abs to flex the spine while the upper body is stationary and the legs are moving, kind of like as opposed to a crunch where you're starting with the upper back. It's a really good exercise in its own right, but it also serves as a really good regression from the hanging leg raise. So I'm just going to demonstrate over here. I see this a lot where people will go on to the hanging leg raise and then they're lifting their knees up like this. They just don't seem to have a connection to their core to do what we want, which is to flex the spine in that position. And sometimes no matter how much you try to show people visually what you want them to do, they just don't seem to have the connection. So this is a really good exercise for that. Okay, so I'm going to demo it myself. I'm going to use the lovely Stephanie, who's never done this exercise before. I'm going to teach her how to do it. So first I'm going to demo it myself. So what we're going to do here is we're going to hold on to the kettlebell. And from here we're going to keep our feet, the heels as close to the glutes as possible. And we want to imagine ourselves folding and pulling the knees towards the chin, pressing the thighs as hard into your chest and into your core as possible. I'm going to use this as an anchor, and then from there I'm going to breathe out, pulling the knees towards my chin. When you come out, it's important, actually it's quite useful to come all the way down and cue the lower back still pressing onto the floor. But the most important part of the movement is squeezing in. Some people are not capable of doing that even with an anchor. It's in that case that you want to control opening up through the legs. Now you'll notice that whenever you're teaching this, invariably people will do this sort of thing, right? Which isn't really going to involve the abs because they're just using the weight of their legs to bring themselves over. But in some cases in which keeping the strict position is still too difficult, you can very controlled open the legs up a little bit and work like that. So technically that would be cheating, but if you're doing it under control, then it becomes a regression and it's not a cheating. Okay, so we're going to get Stephanie to try this out. So you need to lie down on your back. Hold on to the kettlebell. Okay. And from there, let's bring the knees. Good. Point the toes. Good. And as you're pulling, breathe out. And try to pull your knees towards your chin. Good. See how she wants to extend her feet, right? We're going to keep that in. And pull the knees right into your chin. Again, breathe in, and then squeeze, 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 just a little bit more. I'm just cueing her to get, yeah, that's it, good. And then bring it down nice and slow. Touch the floor, keep your lower back pressed with, that's it. And again, back up. Squeeze, keep the heels closed in, and then bring it back down. Sometimes it's useful to put something between the legs so that they're squeezing into their glutes, squeezing the heels into their glutes. But in this case, Stephanie's pretty good and she's got it. How does that feel? Good. Is it pretty easy?
I think so.
Okay, so what we do now when it's easy, we're going to reduce the weight. You want to pause real quick?
And go.
You wait. Squeeze, squeeze a little higher, good. You'll notice that you'll get to a point where you'll almost want to lift the kettlebell off the floor. And that's the idea. We're using the lats to sort of, to assist the movement. Just like you might use the lats to assist the movement on the hanging leg raise. As you get stronger and more aware of your lats, try to minimize the activity of the lats and focus more on the core. But for now, this is good. Let's just focus on position. And again, squeeze, 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 squeeze. There you go. That's it. Good. And then bring it down nice and slow. And you can use the anchor. Use it until the point where you feel like you're almost lifting it off the floor. And again. Okay, so what she just did there, that's a bit of a no-no. You don't want to use momentum, right? So we want to make it a really nice, slow, uniform squeeze from the bottom, right? Let's try again, slow. Breathe, squeeze, 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 a little more, a little more, a little more. That's it. And then bring it back down.
Oh, and
okay, so as I was saying, you're going to keep reducing the weight until you get to the point where you're able to squeeze the arms back behind you, and then from here, squeezing the knees into the chin. Now, when you're able to do that, I mean, you can even start before when you're at a light enough weight, like 5 or 10 pounds. That'll almost invariably create enough awareness in the core that once you move them over into the hanging bar, that they're able to do that. We haven't tried it, but let's just, for fun, let's just try the hanging bar. She's already pretty strong, and she has pretty good awareness of her core, but let's see if you can do that same thing. So from here, I'm gonna get you hanging, the same thing. Try to pull your knees into your chin. And let's see. Maybe we'll go over here from the side. And let's see. Squeeze. Excellent. Already has really, really good awareness. So for her, we could work on that, but we can also go straight into working on this. Cool?